What is up, my friends? How are we? I hope you're all having a wonderful day so far. Thank you for joining me. I was reading through the comments before I started, as I often do, and I seen Samuel's lovely comment, so thank you, Samuel. He said, I saw some dude on Twitter thrashing Craig. I took it personally, WFM. It's alright, my man. Look, I live in this world where I say to myself all the time, I know people are going to be talking crap about me on Twitter, but ultimately, mate, I'm not on there so I don't see it, which is a good thing. But you're right, they do take me out of context a lot of the time. But that's all. This is what social media is, unfortunately. And I don't know who these people are, but I appreciate people like you sticking up for me, mate. Thank you. It means a lot to me. There's a reason I'm not on there. It's just because it's so negative, my man. You know, it's so negative and it's not worth arguing with them because ultimately, these type of people I found over the years, they don't have anything good to say about me anyway, or they probably haven't even watched the stream and they just made their mind up on clips. So it's all good, but thank you, Samuel, for looking out for me, dude. Appreciate it. Right, Frimpong, Inacio, Salah, and maybe a holding midfielder. Nothing greedy there for Marco. Nothing greedy at all there, Marco. That's a big list you have. So we're going to be talking about a few bits and pieces today. We're going to be talking about Paul Glatzel and him maybe leaving Liverpool. We're going to be asking the question, is Jean-Clair Todibo really possible for Liverpool with the connections of obviously Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Nice and now Manchester United? We're going to ask, is Ibrahim Konaté's friendship enough to maybe get that deal over the line for the summer? And a couple of other bits and pieces. We've got some information on Kylian Mbappe, which will have nothing to do with his transfer. It's just a nice little story about Mbappe on the side and a few other bits and pieces. So look, how are we all doing? Let's say a few hellos first. Would it be acceptable to raise ticket prices if we get Mbappe? No, it wouldn't. People are already struggling with the cost of living crisis, and you know, football tickets are expensive enough as it is. Am I okay? Yes, sir. I'm good, thank you, old man Dagu. I'm good. Just still getting my second coffee into me. So yeah, I'll be alive in about half a cup of coffee. I'll be far more alert. Do you think Klopp will win another Champions League with Liverpool again? Tough to say. You know, if we look at it at face value that Klopp owes 2 years to go, then we've got two more chances. So, I don't know. You can never be that arrogant to think he'll win a Champions League. What I will say is, every year in the competition when we're in it, I expect us to go relatively deep in it, and nobody ever wants to play us because coming to Anfield, particularly in a European night, in a knockout stage, not an easy task. So, we can do it. It's possible, but let's just focus on this year because, you know, there's plenty of trophies still ahead of us and still to play for. Will there be a watch-along for the United-Tottenham game? Yes, sir, Giovanni, there will. Myself and Ben are going to do that on top of the league, like you've suggested, on Sunday, mate. So, absolutely, we're going to be doing that. It's setting up for a good game, that one. There's a weird stat around that game, actually. I don't know if you've seen it. I'm sure you probably have. If Manchester United win and beat Spurs, then Eric Ten Hag's win percentage record will actually go above Sir Alex Ferguson's win percentage record. Now, of course, I'd say take that with a massive pinch of salt because you're looking at Sir Alex Ferguson over a much longer period of time. But ultimately, I think these stats are very misleading at times because, like, to even put him in a conversation with Sir Alex Ferguson is an embarrassment to everything that Ferguson achieved there with Manchester United. But these are the weird type of things, I guess, that people dig in to try and find. And it was TNT Sport that actually put up that. So, bit of a weird one. Todibo's a very good centre-back, said Eugene. He is. And, you know, I haven't really spoke much about him, Eugene, other than to say that I would have been amazed. And, I still would be amazed if Liverpool do end up signing him from Nice because of the Jim Ratcliffe connection. I can't fathom how Ratcliffe will be able to tide that over with the United fans, you know, because he obviously owns Nice and now he owns 25% of Manchester United. I mean, if it happens, great, because he's a good player and he's very good friends with Ibrahim Konaté as well. And I think some of the articles I've read today suggested that Kloppo's vision or the club's vision in the long term is to have that all-French centre-back partnership. But one thing I'd say there is they're ruling out or they're not thinking about Mr. Jarell Kwanzaa in that conversation because I'm sure he has his sights set on becoming one of the Liverpool mainstays at centre-back longer term as well. But it is an interesting one. Lefika said he is going to United. Look, I don't know, mate. And look, I've been told by lots of United people that he's earmarked to go to United, but there's another part of this that we just can't ignore, and that's the fact that Liverpool right now are a more attractive proposition than Manchester United. And if you look at it, that his good friend is playing at Liverpool and he's going to be in his ear. And 60 million quid, if that's the price, or 60 million euro, is not the most over the top transfer fee in the world. If the player himself turned around and simply said he didn't want to move to Manchester United, then Nice are left with an option of, do we have an unhappy player on our hands who doesn't want to be here, or do we sell him? So I don't know how it plays out, but it's interesting to see him linked strongly today with Liverpool in a good few publications. Any news on transfers? Literally just talking about it, John, my man. Just talking about it, bud. It is a quiet enough day, though, John, in all honesty, with regards to transfers in Liverpool. So, one person who looks like he could be leaving Liverpool Football Club is Paul Glatzel. On the brink of leaving Liverpool, according to Paul Gorst of the Echo, he's set to join Swindon Town. So, wish him all the best. His fledgling career has been blighted with just one injury after another for such a long time. So, unfortunate for Mr. Glatzel. An interesting stat that pops up today as well. Liverpool have almost twice as many goal involvements from subs as any other side in the Premier League this season. So, Liverpool have got 15 sub goals and 15 substitute assists. And the next on the list is Aston Villa with 8 goals from subs, 10 assists from subs, so 18 in total. It's crazy how big of an impact we're having off the bench this season, whether it be from goals or assists. And I guess that's testament to our squad depth. United fans said the same thing about Cody Gakpo. Yeah, and Fabinho and a few others along the way, mate. But look, I'm not going to sit here and be arrogant enough to say Liverpool are signing him. I truly don't know. But we've been linked again today, so I thought let's have it as a talking point on the stream. Do you think we can buy a dual DM and centre-back utility man this window? No. I don't. I see if we make a move this window, and if you're taking into account the Todibo link, and if that's serious, then I would have doubts about any business getting done this window, let alone a utility man, because we don't need a utility player. We need a centre back if we're going to bring somebody in. So there's a bit of trouble in the Andre camp, and by trouble I mean concern. So there's an article today in the Echo that says Fluminense midfielder Andre is reportedly paying the price for failing to accept an offer from Liverpool during the summer transfer window. The move goes on to say that he went on, won the Copa Libertadores, and then say that Andre's management are now worried as they believe their client would be subject to offers from clubs in Europe this month. But so far, outside of the interest from Fulham, no concrete offers have come through yet for Andre. And it is a very strange situation, right? Because for 2 months there, he was one of the most talked about players across a lot of fan pages, quite a lot of fan accounts, and now just gone all quiet. With Polina not going to be joining Bayern Munich, Dyer gone in there as well as a bit of a utility man. Funnily enough, we're talking about utility men. I don't know what's going to happen with him. Luke Chambers gone to Wigan. Yeah, we expected that yesterday, Rachel, that there would be a loan move there for Luke Chambers after Liverpool brought Owen Beck back from, I think it was Dundee, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the thought was that he'd move on loan, and Wigan being the club that was mentioned yesterday. Would you still sign Andre now? Do you know, I think I would. And the reason I'd give for signing him now is Thiago. So Thiago's going to be gone in the summer, and there will be a squad space. Now, maybe the club are looking at players that are already there. Maybe the club are looking at the likes of Bobby Clark, as an example, that can step in and fill a midfield spot. But at the price that's been mentioned, I think it's a reasonable fee. 30 million quid is not like, in the European transfer world, it's not too much money. Jonathan Alanis, thank you, mate, for joining Anfield Agenda FC. You're very kind. Appreciate your support. Just want to continue to say, by the way, thank you to you all. We've had another record month. We're just about to hit 4 million views over the last 30 days on our YouTube channel, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's is crazy. The numbers where we're going. 4 million views over a 30-day period is absolutely fantastic. And that's just on the main channel. So thank you for that. But don't forget about our Clips channel, by the way. It's really growing now. It's really starting to catch fire. So if you are a fan of the content, don't forget to check out Anfield Agenda Clips, which we've repurposed and put out this week with lots of new content on there and a bit of a new look to the Clips channel as well. So please do check it out. Jason Cundy is a prat. And that's not me just saying that randomly. It's in the chat, although I don't disagree. He doesn't talk very nicely about Liverpool a lot of the time. But then again, look, it is what it is, you know. That cup's so big it nearly covers my fat head. Do you think Thiago will put in a shift from here on out to put himself in the shop window? Well, he's got to be able to get on the pitch, I think, Ronan, to put a shift in, dude. And I can't tell you how disappointing it's been this season to still not see him, or Bajcetic. It's frustrating to say, especially with Bajcetic, because I was really hyped to see how he gets on this season. And hopefully we get him back on the pitch soon and we can have a good end to the campaign with him. But yeah, this for Thiago's last year of his contract. And because he had that operation early, which kind of gave him a longer recovery time at the end of last season, it just feels terribly disappointing that we haven't seen him. Our academy is a golden generation at the minute. I was only thinking the other day, Ben, similar to what you've said there, pal. It's excuse me. It's definitely producing some good talent. Like, we've gone out and we've brought in some good players through this 16, 17, 18 bracket. But yes, it's starting to bear fruition now, isn't it? And we're starting to see the likes of Bradley, Clark come in, Kate Gordon come back, Ben Doak, of course, who we brought down from Celtic, so not really through the academy too much. But we are starting to get some joy there. And if you can bring 2 or 3 of these guys through every time the team evolves, it's incredible business. It'll save the club a fortune. These live streams are kind of like Fan Craig press conferences. That's a great way to think about it. I've never thought about it that way, but I like your way a lot more than me thinking about, is anyone going to show up today? Am I just forcing the streams, which sometimes I do think about. So I want to talk a little bit about Mbappe for a second, but not from the context that you're expecting me to talk about Mbappe. There was a piece that was posted earlier on, and it's about the charity work and the good work that Mbappe does with the businesses and companies that he has. So let me just read it through to you, and you can have your thoughts or your say on it then. So it's Kylian Mbappe donates 30% of all profits generated by his various companies to the association inspired by Kylian Mbappe, with the aim of helping 98 young people aged 13 to 21 to achieve their professional dream, to introduce them to sporting activities and cultural activities. It's his mother who and representative who reveals the information in a special interview which will be broadcast on the 18th of January. And it says, I told him, this is his mother speaking, I told him below 30% I don't do it, I retire and do like everybody else, go on vacation to the Maldives. At the beginning I told him we would do it 50-50, 50% of the profits, but we discussed and we agreed 30%, that represents millions of euro. Mbappe and his mother therefore agreed on a pact which allows nearly 100 young people to experience unique moments. It is a lovely thing, and it's a lovely gesture from him and his family to help young people achieve some sporting dreams and moments. And this is the side, the only reason I bring this up today is because we hear a lot about the other side of Mbappe, right? The diva, the entourage, the troublemaker, all these things that we see in the media. But then there's these other things that aren't as sexy, right? It isn't as clicky or headline grabbing to talk about this type of stuff. But see, this here is the type of stuff that I'm interested in, because that lets us know the type of human being we're dealing with. That lets us know where his heart's at. And I like reading these type of things. And fair play to him, his mother, and for all those young people that they're helping to achieve some dreams or to at least shoot for the stars. It's a good thing. So well played to the Mbappe family. And these are the type of news stories I personally like to read. But Mbappe's selfish and self-centered, and you were joking in your comment, I know. Exactly. So it's nice to be able to kind of put another side of the man forward, isn't it? Because it's very easy to get lured into how the media or certain narratives are painted about somebody. And we don't know these people. We don't know them on a personal level. So, yeah, it's nice to read these type of things anyway. So, going to a completely different, I guess, side of the world here. Did you guys see that Anthony Robinson liked a post that said, on Instagram, that said, please come to Liverpool? Did you guys see that doing the rounds again? And again, look, I wouldn't take anything from it. Maybe the guy's just... maybe he's just happy that someone thinks that highly of him. You know, maybe it's just a complimentary nod to the youngster for the kind post. But interesting. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say no if we were to move Costas on. I won't lie. I think that he's brilliant with the energy he has up and down that left side. But I don't think there's anything to it. I think it's just one of those funny social media things. Imagine Mbappe doing that in Liverpool or companies around the UK would be helping so much. Exactly. Um, I love hearing these kinds of things with footballers because we all hear about the trappings, the fame, the riches, the money, the cars, the houses, all this stuff. But most footballers, and I want to give credit to most of them, they will all have something close to their heart that they work with or work towards. You know, whether it's fans for food banks or whether it's the situation with Juan Mata where they was trying to get footballers to give 1%. There's loads of brilliant things. Sadio Mane does a lot of stuff. Mohamed Salah, of course, does a lot of great stuff, as does so many footballers. So it's nice to remember that they are humans as well, and there is good things to what they do rather than just running around the football pitch. But isn't he an Evertonian? Yes, but so was Carragher. So was, I think, McManaman. So I wouldn't worry about the fact that he did come to Everton's academy, Anthony Robinson, yes, but I wouldn't worry about that too much now. He's not at Everton now. He's at Fulham. So I think, look, I'm not saying it's happening, anything like it, but I do like that our fans let it be known when they like somebody like that, because he has been impressive the couple of times we've played against Fulham. He's definitely caught my eye when I've watched anyway. Rush was an Evertonian. Fowler, Rush, McMahon, the list goes on. Yes, there's loads of them. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if he was playing for Everton now, fair enough. It's much more complicated, but he isn't. So I don't think it becomes a factor at that point. Mbappe gives 30% of his salary. I just read it out, mate. I literally just read through the Mbappe stuff that you're talking about there. I don't think it's 30% of his salary. I think it's 30% of businesses that he runs, I think. But either way, there's a lot of money going to help out a lot of people, a lot of young people, and that's a beautiful thing. So, yeah, good. It's a good news story. He isn't a youngster, though. No, he's 26. He's 26 years of age. But look, let me just ask you this. I'd swap him for Costas. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking that Anthony Robinson would be to come in and take Andy Robertson's place. But I would swap him for Costas and have him as an option, I won't lie. I know Costas signed a new deal. I'm not wishing Costas away, but he's better than Costas in my humble opinion. Do you think we'll actually sign a player, and do you think we need to be considering Bradley and Kwanzaa are doing so well? So I'm unsure about whether we need to at this point. That's the honest answer. If the right deal comes up for the right number and it works, yeah. But as for our need to do it, I still think we're light at centre back. I do. But I'm not going to be as angry if we don't do business in this window as perhaps I might have been a week or two ago. You know, when you see, as you've mentioned, the likes of Bradley showing what he can do. Owen Beck coming back. I'm interested to see how he gets on. I still think whatever happens, we are threading dangerous water with regards to the centre-back situation, because we're light there until Robertson and Costas get back. When they're back, then I guess you look at Gomez as a centre-back option again, and then you're thinking you've a bit more breathing room. You've got 4 again. So once we have 4 centre-backs, I think we're okay. But when we get down to 3, it gets a bit nervy. The wage structure wouldn't be broken if Mbappe signs to Liverpool. Again, if it gets to the point where he's signing, we don't need to worry about the wage structure because somebody else would have figured that one out for us. But it's a long way away. We don't know what's happening yet around that situation. But I was just trying to bring to the table a different side of the whole Mbappe thing than we've seen recently. So talking about Todibo, there was a piece that said Liverpool are a little bit ahead of United in the race to sign him, and then there was a follow-on that said the Reds are very attractive with an established manager like Jurgen Klopp, a legendary stadium like Anfield, are top of the Premier League, and then there's a very, very close relationship between Ibrahima Konate and Todibo. What are you thinking? Would you do it? Do you think it's likely? Or do you think he is nailed on to go to Manchester United? Because when I spoke to a couple of United fans I know on this, and this was maybe 10 days ago to 2 weeks ago, the feeling was very much like he was earmarked for United and that it was almost a formality that he'd end up at United. Now, things change quickly in football, and I don't know if E-Booth maybe had a word in his ear or something, but a lot of stuff over the last 24 hours about it. Why don't you play Football Manager 2024? I'm not a gaming person. It doesn't really interest me too much, mate. I don't have the time for it because I'll tell you honestly, if I start getting into Football Manager or EAFC I'd never stream. I'd just play computer games. Like, I know my personality, and if I get into a new hobby or a new thing, I'm one of these people that's kind of obsessive. So it would take my time, and I'd end up losing focus on what I'm doing here, and it would just end up being costly in the longer term. So, yeah, that's why I don't. Does the club even want him? Who? You're gonna have to be more specific, Deno, than does the club even want him? Are we talking about Todibo, Mbappe, somebody else? What front three do you think Klopp goes with against Bournemouth? Diaz, Jota, Darwin, with Diaz on the right. Unless he wants to continue on with this frustration of having Elliot on the right. Nothing wrong, look, I love Elliot, but it hasn't worked the last couple of times on the right. I don't really want to see Szoboszlai on the right wing. So for me, put Diaz on the right, put Darwin on the left, and put Jota or Gakpo through the middle. Newcastle are apparently considering selling at least one of their top players to lower the risk of falling foul of FFP. Yeah, I touched on this a little bit last night. It was very interesting to hear from the Newcastle CEO about the evolution of how they're trying to build that Newcastle squad, and how sometimes to be able to take 2 steps forward, you have to take 1 step back. And he used us as an example when we sold Coutinho to Barcelona and we brought in Virgil van Dijk and Alisson Becker with that money. So I understand exactly where he's coming from. Is there anybody I'd take from Newcastle? Isak, maybe? Probably it, if I'm being really honest with you. Miley looks like a really bright talent, but he's not there yet for us. Other than that, nah, not really. But it's more, I don't think I expect us to go in and buy anyone off Newcastle, to be honest. But it was interesting to hear him speak so candidly about the business side of football and how sometimes to give yourself a bit of extra wiggle room around FFP, these things have to be done. Now, I don't want Bruno Guimaraes. I don't rate him as highly as others do, especially not around the 80, 100 million you're talking. Every time I watch him, I honestly, I feel underwhelmed when I watch Bruno Guimaraes play at Newcastle. Maybe I'm just not seeing what it is he does specifically, because there must be something about him. But, nah, nobody I'd really want that I think would suit the way that we play. Anthony Gordon, I've said yesterday, his face bugs me. I know that's not the right thing to say, but I don't know. No, I don't want any of the Newcastle players. Will Trent just be out for the Bournemouth game or more? more. From what I can gather, Trent will be out for the second leg against Fulham, Bournemouth. I think there was another game in there. If I'm not mistaken, was it Chelsea in the league or something? I'm hoping Trent's back for the Arsenal game on February 4th. How's Sepp van den Berg doing at Mainz? Could he be an option for next season? It's a good question. He's doing well. Scored a goal against one of the major clubs recently. I can't remember if it was Dortmund or Bayern, but I don't know is the honest answer. You know, he's playing at a good level. Let's see. I don't know what the club's thinking is on Van den Berg, so it would be unfair of me to give you an answer. But considering we are being linked with so many centre-backs, I think probably likely that the club will maybe, if I was guessing, and I am, I'd say maybe the club will invite offers for him at the end of the season, because it might get to the point where he just wants to go and play football regularly and put down roots and, you know, start his career at a club properly. What about Tonali? I'd certainly prefer Tonali over Bruno, yes. But I also get the feeling, I don't think Tonali's going to settle in England in the Premier League. I think he's going to end up finding a way back to Italy somehow. Whether it ends up be a loan, I just get the feeling he's one of them players that won't settle and will end up back in Italy. I just wanted to say appreciate all the transfer updates. Thank you. I just wish there was more meat on the bone, so to speak. It's not been the January transfer window that so far that I'd hope for. And I mean that across the board, by the way. Have you guys noticed, like, it is a very, very slow, strange window. Like, Spurs have done business, obviously bringing in Dragusin for 21.5, rising up to 26. But there's no, other than that, Werner coming in on loan. There's been a few bits and bobs. Brighton with Barco is probably my favourite deal that's happened in the window so far. I think there's great value in that for them. Botman, would you take? Sven Botman's a good centre-back, yes. He is a good centre-back. But would I take him? I don't know about now, because I would imagine what Liverpool would have to pay now would probably be more than he's worth, if that makes sense. If you were going to get him, you get him when Newcastle got him, when he was still in France. So now I just feel like what you'd have to pay is a premium to get him from another English club. I just don't think there'd be value in it. Missed the trick not signing Barco. I think so. I agree. Even if you loaned him out for a couple of seasons, I felt like at $10 million as well. And if you've looked at Barco play, he's very... You could look at it, you could almost see a young Andy Robertson in him. Like, very, very good energy, very good eagerness to get forward. But also that bit of grit and bit of fire in his belly, which you see through Andy Robertson. Who Spurs signed? Dragusin, a centre-back from Genoa. He turned down Bayern Munich to go and sign for Spurs. He's a Romanian international, big tall dude, strong in the air. Not great carrying the ball forward by the scouting reports I've read, but ultimately I think it was Ange Postecoglou that convinced them that he was the right move for him. They've also brought in Timo Werner on loan, of course, from Leipzig with an option to buy at the end of the season for 15 mil. Did you see the reports from, I don't know who it was at Leipzig, but somebody was talking about Fabio Carvalho, and they were basically saying that he didn't want to fight for his place. He didn't have the stomach for the fight. I think I have it in the notes. Bear with me. 1 second. I'm just flying through my notes real quick. No, I don't have it in my notes, but I read it somewhere that one of the people at Leipzig said he's not willing to fight for his place. So that's not a great sign. He pulled a Jordan Henderson there. Antonio from West Ham. Yeah, stop it now. If we're talking about Antonio again, the only thing we need to remind Mr. Antonio is that We're top of the league, bud. We're top of the league, and we'll send him a pleasant little, hello if we win the league. I'm sure he'd love to hear from us. Big fan of the Liverpool fans by the sounds of it. Would explain a lot of that Fabio stuff is true about why he didn't play for Klopp. Yeah, it's weird because if you go into a top club as a youngster, you're gonna have to fight. Like, you're gonna have to take the place off somebody. You do it in a respectful way, of course. You train hard, you wait for your opportunity, you take it. But that has to be the mindset going into any club. If you go into a club thinking you're just gonna automatically get a place in it, it's not the right attitude. So I hope that he sorts it out, Carvalho, because there's a talent in there, and he's got half the season now with Hull to figure it out. And let's see if he can show his true colours, because we know there's a player there. And then let's see if Jurgen has plans for him next season. Maybe he takes, and I say this not because they're anywhere near the type of player, but I mean the Thiago spot in the club, in the squad, not the positional squad. Or positional spot, sorry. Can Henderson be considered a Liverpool legend? So look, Ronan, everyone knows my thoughts on Jordan Henderson. Everybody knows how angry I am with what he did. But can he be considered a Liverpool legend? 100% yes. He has to be. Whatever we think about how he left the club, and everybody has their own opinion on it, he represented the club with distinction and acted like a thorough professional for 99.9% of that time. And we were all proud to have him as a captain. So 100% yes, Jordan Henderson, in my eyes, as much as I despise what he did, 100% a club legend. Lifted a league title, showed the fighting spirit to come back from that opportunity to move to Fulham for Clint Dempsey, dug his heels in, worked hard, became Liverpool captain, won a European Cup. I don't forget those things. As much as I'm angry about it, I don't forget those things. So to me, yes, Jordan Henderson will go down as a Liverpool legend, 100%. Legend is an overstatement. I don't think it is. He was the captain that delivered the league title with Jurgen. He delivered a European Cup. In my eyes, if you captain Liverpool to a league title and a European Cup, you are a legend. That's my opinion. And look, you know what I think of Henderson. I haven't been shy about saying it. But for me, 100% he's a legend. They're calling him Fabio Carvalho. Oh God, I'm not getting in on that conversation. I'm not here to judge people's body shapes. What are your thoughts on Xavi Simons? He looks like a really, really good player. Of course, he's a PSG player who's on loan at Leipzig, but he does look like a very good player. Just a shame that he's going to be at PSG because, I don't know if I don't get the allure of PSG outside of maybe money or getting to live and play in Paris, but from a footballing project, it just wouldn't appeal to me. I absolutely agree with Ethan. Come support your channel and smash the like button. Yes, please. Please do smash the like button. What have we got? Hypothetical for you. Had DIC purchased Liverpool 15 years ago, how many titles do you think we'd have in the bag? Well, DIC went out of business, so I'd be more concerned about if Liverpool would have had even bigger financial headaches. Dubai Investment Capital, which I think, if I remember right, Amanda Staveley was part of the setup of. Yeah, they ended up going out of business from what I remember. And I'm glad we weren't taken out. I don't like the idea of sovereign funds and football clubs. It just doesn't sit well with me. So as much as we all wanted Hicks and Gillette and all out, I'm glad in a weird way it ended up the way it is. Because as much as I have many faults with FSG, at least they're business people and they're they have to survive on their business merits and don't just have this never-ending supply of money. Would I sign Reece James? No, because of the injury concerns. I think Reece James is an absolutely phenomenally good footballer. But I've heard a few things on the, I guess on the down low, is that the phrase I'm using, about how serious and how consistent these injuries could be and how worrying it could be. And if that's true, and I don't know if it is or isn't, but I feel like he's going to have a career that's very stop-start. But he's an incredibly good player. When he's fit and firing down the right-hand side, he's really, really good. But so many injuries. Oliver Hunt, welcome, man. Welcome in. Appreciate you, dude. Welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Who's your Ballon d'Or winner for 2024 so far? Oh, easy. Conor Bradley. We discussed this the other night. I've already awarded the Ballon d'Or to Conor Bradley this year. Anybody else who gets it, it's fake news. They're just really fronting up. Conor Bradley's winning the Ballon d'Or. It's a gimme. Surely it's the easiest decision we've had to make, folks. You can tell I'm very hyped about Conor Bradley, right? When is the window closing? Last day of the month. Last day of the month, mate. Any news on Todibo? Yes. So there's been lots of news today that Liverpool are going to make a push in the summer. And they're hoping that Mbappe on the brain. That Kanade's friendship with Todibo would be enough to help tip the odds in Liverpool's favour. €60 million is the number being mentioned. I mean, I'll read through a few bits for you from today. Where's another one on Todibo that we had there? One sec. It's been reported by Nice Martin that Jurgen Klopp's side hold an advantage over the Old Trafford rivals in their mutual pursuit of Jean-Clair Todibo, who's valued at €60 million by Nice. So Paul Ince has been speaking, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this one. Paul Ince has said Liverpool should sign a replacement for Mohamed Salah this month. He said, I love Darwin Núñez and I think he gives you everything as a striker, but he misses a lot of chances that Liverpool attack are reliant on Mohamed Salah when he's not available, like now at the Africa Cup of Nations. And after he leaves you, you need to look at who's going to score you 25 goals a season. All teams challenging for the title have a player like him. Just look at Son for Spurs and Haaland for Manchester City. Just rewind that back a little bit there, if you don't mind, Mr. Ince. We talking with a straight face here now, Paul. We're talking about Spurs as title challengers, are we? I mean, I get where you're going with Son. Great player, loads of goals, top fella. But, you know, let's not get ahead of ourselves. They were title challengers for a couple of weeks there, and eventually they went full Spurs. But anyway, he said, Salah's goals are so important for Liverpool that when they're without him, they need to think about a replacement for him. I think Klopp knows this because he's a fantastic manager. But you're always thinking with Salah now, whenever he's going to stay or leave to go to Saudi Arabia or somewhere else, Klopp may not want to, but he will need a plan B or C if something happens. I kind of agree with that, but look, I'm kind of also, every time I talk about Salah, I get in trouble because people think I'm almost like wishing him away or something. I'm not. I kind of agree. I don't know if I agree that it has to be this month, by the way. I don't know if I agree with Paul Ince on that one, but I certainly agree that you have to start putting in a plan in place if it does indeed happen. And for whatever reason, the club and Mo don't agree an extension, you do have to start looking at what happens. And look, for me, it's fairly straightforward. Elise, if we lost Mo, and I'm not trying to say that Elise will cover Mo's numbers, I start this conversation from the point of nobody will be able to cover Mo's numbers. Doesn't matter who we bring in. So that's my starting point, and I try to work backwards from there. So yeah, I like Elise. Are they nipples? Me? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. My nipples are tremendous, mate. Honestly. Big monkey nipples, me. The Echo reporting that Mbappe be looking for a salary of approx 1.24 million a week. Yeah, we touched on that, and that's after tax as well, Ian. That's after tax, believe it or not. So yeah, he'd probably be getting paid about £2 million a week to get that. I think it's 47% all in with national insurance and all. Footballers pay at the top level, so yeah, a lot of money. No English player better than Salah. That's okay, but at least he's not English, so doesn't really fall into the argument we've had. And again, why does nationality come into it? I don't get this. Why is it just not, there's no player out there better than Salah? I don't know if the English part has to come into it for. What do you think of Fabio Carvalho's future at Liverpool? I think his future is going to be sorted out in the next 6 months. I think he's got 6 months to prove that he deserves to be at a club like Liverpool, or else we'll sell him. That's my take on it. He has to prove. He has to go to Hull now, dig his heels in, score some goals, get some assists, and show that he's a level above the Championship. If he doesn't do that, then he's not ready to play for Liverpool Football Club. It's that simple. If you're going to play for us long term, and you go on loan to the Championship or over to Germany, you definitely want to be standing out. You know, you want to be shown that you are mustard, you're the cream of the crop, and that this is on your pathway to getting to the top. Carvalho transfer value. Ooh, good question. By the way, do drop a like on the video if you haven't. There's 200 likes. Let's get that up if we can. And also don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Oh, thank you on this, by the way. Ticket sales are actually starting to pick up a bit now as well. So if you are in Boston, don't forget House of Blues Foundation Room, 22nd of March. Tickets on sale on Ticketmaster. The Anfield Agenda World Tour of one city is coming to a city near you, if that city happens to be Boston. 22nd of March. Value of Carvalho. What would I put on Carvalho's value? 30 to 35 million euro. So 27, 30 million pound, maybe something like that. Yeah, something like that. I feel like if you got 25 million with some add-ons, you're not doing too bad. Chris, how are you, mate? Chris Tat Music said, agreed, Craig, but my opinion is that a replacement for Mo needs to be in while Mo is still here, so you can bet him into the team. Fair point, mate. But if, let's say, Elise was that player, Liverpool aren't going to sign him in January because I don't think Palace will sell him. So I do get where you're coming from, but I don't know if Liverpool can commit to anything really yet, because we might not know the numbers involved in the budget. So if it's dependent on what happens at Mo, you're going to have to plan for plan A, plan B, plan C, with Mo, without Mo, every eventuality, whether Mo runs down his deal, you're going to have to figure it out. So I just want it over with. I just want to know at this point, whatever it is, whether he's staying, and brilliant. If he's going to go, then we need to get our thinking caps on. It's just, I just don't like uncertainty. And look, you can say that as well about Virgil van Dijk and Trent, but you feel probably far more comfortable in thinking that they're going to stay at the club. What do you think of Kelleher's future? I think he's got to move on this summer for his own career. Alisson's still got years left at the top, so you're not going to break through to Liverpool just yet. So I feel like Liverpool need to look to who comes in next, and Quiveen himself needs to look to go and just establish himself as a number one somewhere. Because he is at a very good place now. He's training with the best in the world. He's getting great coaching. He's still got lots of time ahead of him. He's still a relatively young man, especially for a goalkeeper. So yeah, I think that's where we're at. Ernest, how are you? South African in the house. Appreciate you, mate. Welcome in. World tour of one city. Very good, Craig. I nearly choked drinking my coffee. Yeah. It's. I was saying it to myself the other night, mate, chuckling. Oh, we're going to Boston. We can call this a world tour. Ooh, world tour of one city. You never know. Might extend to another city at some point down the line. But yeah, just a little one man and his microphone. Love Kelleher, but I agree for his own career he needs to move on, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a really tough call, because he said, I like Quiveen Kelleher as well. He's an Irishman. A friend of ours was his Irish goalkeeping under 21 coach. So Yeah, I want the best for Kelleher and Bazunu and any of the Irish keepers. Would I sign Jeremy Frimpong for right back? Look, I don't know how you give Conor Bradley a Ballon d'Or and then go and sign it, right? Nah, I wouldn't for the time being. I want to hang our hat on Bradley. I want Conor Bradley to get the chance. And see if, like, he's got between now and the end of the season, I will have a much better understanding and picture of his development, because we'll get a bigger sample size of him at the highest level. So I think I'm alright between him and Ramsey, and we haven't really got to see Ramsey yet. I hope we have that position covered, but we don't know yet. It's too early to say 100% either way. Um, Jason Bean said, I believe Bradley can be a six replacement as well. What are your thoughts? No. I think his attributes are far better served bombing up and down the side of the pitch because of that energy and that engine that he has. Look, I guess he could slip inside, but he'll need to fill out a little bit for me. But I think he is working in the gym at the minute. He is going to fill out as he gets a little bit older, and maybe then you reevaluate. But right now, leave him fly up and down that flank. What about Simons? He's on loan, I believe, at Leipzig. Yeah, he'll be going back to PSG though. And when they lose Mbappe, I didn't say where he's going to, so don't hate me. Hate me a half eight, but not now. Yeah, when they lose Mbappe, they're going to be reliant on the likes of him, Dembele, and other players. So I don't think Siemens has gone anywhere. Who's the keeper on our radar? Because Ali will turn 32 this year. And Alisson has minimum 3 years left at the top. There's no need to be looking at a keeper yet. You've got Pitaluga, Yaros, both out on loan. Stum Graz, see I got it right today, for Yaros for the rest of the season. Pitaluga over here in Ireland with St. Patrick's Athletic. So let's see how they get on. And, 2-3 years left with Alisson. Minimum, I'd say. And even at that, probably still go another 2 or 3 after that. You're talking about a goalkeeper here. So, playing 36, 37, 38, the way Ali looks after himself, that's absolutely doable. Is it Jason Kumas' son? I see, Neil, I often wondered about that when I heard the name Kumas. I did wonder, is that Jason Kumas' son? But there you go. Do you think Trent will move into midfield permanently? Yeah, I do. I don't know when, but it feels like we're getting to that point, right? But I'm very confused to think when he does move into midfield, how we line up. Because do we put Trent in as a 2 in midfield? So do we change system a little bit then and have 2 deeper players with one giving a bit more license to roam or maybe play between the lines? So are we going to switch it up to a 4-2-3-1 or something like that? Or a 4-2-1-3? I don't know. I'm interested to see. I've always been intrigued because I don't know if Trent will ever become a defensive midfielder in the sense we think of as a defensive midfielder. But I can see him in there as part of a 2, where one maybe occasionally Trent gets a bit licensed to go forward because somebody steps back. 4-2-2-2-2. It just gives us zero width though. It's very narrow, that system. And the way teams play against us, they often give us the wide areas of the pitch because they want to stay compact and make it difficult for us to break them down. When is Dom coming back? So he spoke yesterday over in Hungary, and he said every chance that he could be back for the Bournemouth game, but if it's not the Bournemouth game, it will 100% be the game after. Like, he's really, really, really close. He just doesn't want to push it and then maybe miss another few games. So yeah, he knows he's close, but we just have to wait and see, I guess, how he gets on over the next week or so. It is really weird that it's like not an international break or anything, that we still have, what, God, 9 days till we play again. It just feels so long. Till Salah comes back, we can use Trent as a right winger, but you're not getting the full benefit of Trent as a right winger, because he's not going to be able to spray the passes around being isolated out on the right hand side. It doesn't make sense for the way Klopp wants to use Trent to push him to the right wing. It would involve a change in our system again, and not in our system so much, but in how we look to break teams down. Central. If you want to use Trent, it has to be central, because he needs to be able to get his head up, play over the top, play into both channels, and just impact the game from a position where he can see the whole pitch. Will I cover AFCON games on top of the league? God, no. I don't know if there'll be an audience for it, mate, to be honest. And yeah, I just don't have the time as well. Like, that's the other answer. I just don't have the time to do it. I think signing Todibo will be hard because Jim owns Nice. Yeah, that's what I've said for ages, Giovanni. But not impossible. Like, there would be backlash. If Radcliffe did sell us Todibo, it would have to be at a point where Todibo makes it very, very clear that it's Liverpool or nobody for him. So, yeah, it would be bad PR for Jim Radcliffe, obviously having bought into United and him being linked strongly with United as well. I'm a Rangers fan, and I've heard we're trying to bring in a young left back on loan, and the player wants to move to get minutes. Do you think this can be done? Which young left back? If you're talking about Chambers, he's gone to Wigan. I don't know which other player you're speaking about, mate. I remember you were in for somebody recently from Liverpool, I think, but he ended up going elsewhere. If it's Chambers, he's going to go to Wigan. That's the news has been Wigan over the last day. What are your top 5 current youth academy players we can use? I'm not the guy to give you that answer for us. I've always been honest about my knowledge of the youth system. It's somewhat limited. So there will be people in the chat far better placed than me to give you a good account of who to keep an eye on. I just don't have the time. Jack Gill used to take care of that for us back in the day. He used to watch a lot of the youth games and stuff, and give us updates on who to be keeping an eye on, who's progressing well. I just don't have the time. Owen Beck. Well, Beck won't be going on loan. Not for the time being. See, if Beck plays for Liverpool in this month, he can't go on loan again. So, with Owen Beck being brought back to give us cover, as soon as he plays for us, that's bye-bye. End of... can't go on loan then. Can't play for 3 teams in one season. So, yeah. I don't know. If he plays for us, it's done. But if he doesn't, and we get Robbo and Costas back before he plays, maybe at the end of the window there's a chance that he could go out on loan. If Alisson was to leave, who would you buy? Tough one. Mannion at AC Milan is certainly somebody I regard very highly. I don't know enough about some of the up-and-coming younger goalkeepers in world football. But yeah, I like Mannion, the guy from AC Milan and plays for the French national team. What's the most important trophy to you this season? The league. Look, I could be a shithouse and say the Europa League because it's in Dublin, and you know I'd love Liverpool to win a trophy in Dublin, and I would. But the league, that's the biggest priority. That's the biggest trophy we're playing for this year. League, Europa League. For me, then League Cup, FA Cup. I've always said to you guys I prefer the League Cup. I don't know why, I just do. Yeah, Vicario's a great keeper, but you're not going to go and get him from Spurs after he's just gone there. So it would be a mute point. Spurs aren't going to sell us their keeper. They're looking at him there to replace your man that's fecked off to the MLS. So yeah, no chance that's going to happen. Robbo back means Gomez on the left, Trent wandering box to box, no striker needed, false 9, Gakpo and Jota, Salah, Nunez, etc. wandering interchanging. Robbo back absolutely gives us a lot more options, 100%. Then as you said, Gomez can play at right back if needs, Trent can push into midfield. Yeah, we just need to get a left back fit, and fingers crossed we're into what 2-3 weeks away now from that happening, so should be all good soon. I agree with that order 100%. Premier League always feels more important to me than even the Champions League. Oh no, no, no. For me, Champions League tops everything. And look, I'm probably on my own about that, but for me, it's Champions League, Premier League, any other European competition. League Cup for me, because I'll be honest, I just prefer it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because we've won it 10 times, and it's a competition I have fond memories of. And then FA Cup. Which player do you miss at Liverpool? Suarez. Absolutely loved watching Suarez. Fowler, Barnes, Gerrard, Alonso. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. But yeah, I was absolutely head over heels with Suarez. Prem over Champions League for me. Yeah, but think about it this way though. We've been lucky enough to win 19 league titles, and that's great. But the European Cup is the creme de la creme. And when I was growing up, that was the thing that I seen the Emlyn Hughes, the Phil Thompsons, holding old big ears. And that's the memory for me growing up as a kid. When you think of the greats, the legends at Liverpool Football Club, I think of and associate them with the European Cup wins. Would you play Gomez over Chimicus? Depends on the opposition. Depends on the opposition. Are there any free agents you'd bring in on a 2-year deal? I don't know who's available on a free at the end of the season. I haven't really looked. There's always one or two, though. Every year you look at and go, wouldn't say no. Right, my friends, I'm going to leg it because I've got to record a video and then I've got to get a few other things ready for tonight's stream. So I will see you 8:30 tonight if you're around. If not, we'll see you over the weekend at some point. Thank you to everyone who joined me. Don't forget to check out the Clips channel if you haven't done so already. Anfield Agenda Clips. Give it a sub. Let us know your thoughts on it. And yeah, appreciate you joining me. And I will see you, wonderful people, at either 8:30 or at some point over the weekend. We are going to be covering the United game against Spurs on top of the league on Sunday. Myself and Ben are going to be doing that about half an hour before kickoff. So I hope to see you over there for that one. And yeah, do your research for later on and hit me with some more transfer stories. I love to talk about them. So have a great evening, folks, and I will catch up with you soon. Much love. Bye-bye.